extra fee for that.
Ad Astra Abyssosk. Welcome to the Adventurers Guild.
Can we play Banker next time? Now for a little rest after breakfast. Wait a sec. Isn't something important supposed— Oh, today's our big day! We're supposed to leave the Fortress of Mirapede!
Please, sign here. This document will be effective immediately upon signing, and you—
It's been so long since we've been to the surface. Let's hurry up! Huh?
What's happening? I'm fine, thanks. But
Let's go ask the Duke.
Ah, good to see you two. Is there something you wish to see me about?
Yeah, what was with that earthquake just now?
Ah, that. The tremor didn't originate from the seafloor. In fact, over the years of serving as the warden here, I've developed a sense for distinguishing between what occurs on the surface and what occurs underwater. Besides, the seal that...
So the fortress is okay?
If you recall our last incident, if there really were a problem, there would be crowds of inmates in a panic right now.
Huh, you've got a point. Okay, by the way, do you know—
I believe today is this month...
Wait, seriously?
Ah, yes.
Yep. It's you two. Are you leaving now? That's right! Today is our last day in prison. But now that Paimon says that, it doesn't feel like we were confined here. It's actually been pretty nice. Oh yeah, Paimon Then be sure to come back and visit.
If you've signed the release papers, then you're free to go.
You're not going to see us—
I knew you'd ask. All right, sure.
Well, you actually agreed. No.
Ah, so you do have a...
After being down here for so long, I imagine you must feel like you're lacking companionship. Yeah, don't worry, we'll come back to see you. Paimon really likes the—
I hope you won't be here as convicts the next time I see you.
We'll do our best to stay out of trouble. Well, it seems our work in the Fortress of Mirapede is finished. That's the end of another chapter in our We should probably go report to him now. Next up, the Palais Mermonia. You're going to see Monsieur Nervilette? Please pass on our kind regards.
I'm sure just your regards will do, no?
I believe it would be the polite—
You're right. I've heard the Palais has been terribly busy these days. Tell him that I hope he hasn't been overwhelmed by the recent string of troubles.
The Palais Mermonia sure is buzzing with activity today.
Halt! Huh? Oh, it's you two. Apologies. Monsieur Nervilette did say you'd be welcome at any—
Excuse me. Would you mind helping me take a look at this report?
I'll be right there. Sorry, I've got my hands full here. You can see yourselves in.
Everyone's so busy. Seems a lot has been happening.
Hello. You've come at the right time, but you'll have to wait for just a moment, as there are some urgent matters I must tend to first. In the meantime, please, have a seat. If you—
That's all right. We just ate.
Very well, then.
Let's take a break over there while we wait for him to finish.
All right. That should wrap things up for now.
Are you done with your work?
Yes, sorry to keep you waiting. Today should be the day you were released from the Fortress of Mirapede, and it appears that you've managed to complete all the release paperwork.
That's right, and we came here to see you right away.
A massive whale.
Do you have any idea what that might be?
Judging from your description, that cannot have occurred in any ordinary waters, but rather something like the primordial sea. A whale of that size and shape cannot usually be found in the waters of Tivat. Therefore, we can only assume that child is presently immersed in primordial seawater.
Immersed in primordial seawater? But how? And is he okay?
Most people wouldn't be capable of entering in the first place. I'm not completely sure how he could have gotten there myself. Yes? What is it?
Ah, right! Paimon felt we asked the Duke and he said it wasn't from underwater, so we figured you might know something about it.
It turns out that I have just received a report about this particular matter. The source of the tremor was here on the surface near Poisson. After the shaking stopped, the water levels in the Poisson area rose at an alarming rate.
The water levels rose?
Fortunately, the water levels only rose for a short period of time, and have already returned to normal. If the change in water levels is connected with the leaking primordial seawater, then the situation...
Navia should be in Poisson, right? We need to go check on her.
I would also like to go there as soon as possible, but I'm afraid I can't leave just yet. We must immediately formulate disaster prevention plans for the surrounding... I'll have to ask you two to go to Poisson first. I'll meet you there to check on the situation once I finish things here.
There's no time to lose. Let's get going.
Please be careful.
Oh no. What happened here? Navia should be around here, right? We need to make sure she's still... We haven't seen a single soul all the way here.
What will I ever do now?
Look, there's someone on the roof.
Just stay put. We're coming up. Watch your balance.
All right.
Oh, he looks pretty sad.
My leg. How could this have happened? It hurts.
Just hang in there. Help is on the way. You can hold my...
Oh, it's Navia. She's over there. Hey, Navia, are you okay?
You're here.
We heard there was a situation in Poisson, so we came as quickly as we could.
Yes. As you can see, the water level suddenly rose.
Demoiselle! There was a wounded resident next to a building southeast of here. We've already transported him to safety, but we've run out of...
He's wounded?
He fell, so it's probably a broken leg. He's pretty shaken up. When the water level rose, he desperately climbed up to the roof.
He jumped down then. Find the leader of Squad 1 and tell him to take the wounded resident to see a doctor.
Understood. I'll take over his search and rescue mission.
All right. You'll be in charge. I'm sorry.
The
Right. A little earlier, we suddenly heard a loud noise. At first, everyone thought that something might have exploded in the waterways. The rushing water seemed a little odd, almost like the unique color of primordial seawater. Everyone on the street who happened to be close to the water didn't have a chance to. Those who realized what was happening started to flee in a panic, desperately trying to get to higher ground. Many were injured in the stamp. The Spina di Rosula initiated rescue operations as quickly as possible, but there have been a lot of casualties. The water that flooded the area contained primordial seawater, so the lower levels of Poisson are still hazardous. No one knows if this could happen again. All we can do for now is try our best.
How awful. And all of this...
It was quite frightening indeed.
Is there any way we can help, Navia?
Thank you for being so willing to help in a moment of crisis like this.
Don't say that, Navia. That's what friends are for.
Demoiselle! We've got a situation here!
Sorry. I need to go for now.
And off she goes.
Okay, the wounded are being tended to, and we finished a preliminary head count. More support has just arrived, so of course, we should remain ready for anything, and continue doing our best to rescue others. I'll be sure to have Traveler, Paimon, would you two accompany?
Huh? Right now?
Thank you. Not a lot of people here, huh?
Well, given the time of day and the whole situation...
Right. That's...
Navia? Navia, what's wrong?
Sorry. I just... Malus and Silver... They won't ever come back here. What should I do, Papa?
Huh? What happened to them?
Everyone agreed on the rescue plan, but still... They were helping evacuate the resident, and they were caught in the sea. I've known them for so long. I could at least hold a funeral for my father. And I know where he rests. But as for Malus and Silver, they're just...
Everything looks so clean after it rains. Even the gravestones. I didn't expect that you'd enjoy...
I can understand. Besides, the scenery here is...
See, it's not just me. I always want to bring something when I visit Papa. Perhaps we might...
How could Master ever be upset? Yet the cemetery is the home of those who have passed, is it not?
Buying yourself a plot in advance, Art?
No need yet. But when I do, I hope you'll let me be buried beside Master Callus.
Hey!
I'm quite serious. That way, it will save us both the trip to see.
That makes sense. In that case, could I be buried on...
After all, besides you, Demoiselle.
Personally, I believe...
Why are you bringing this up all of a sudden? Seriously. But I'd really prefer not to talk about this stuff. And what do you mean by saving me a trip? I've promised to let them rest in peace here. But... I'm sorry. for letting you see me in a mess like this. I don't usually cry, really.
Paimon doesn't know how to help you feel.
I had always thought I could make my wishes come true. But now that I think about it, that never so Malus and Silver have helped me so much. I'm so sorry.
You can spend as much time as you need here, Navia. We'll stay with you.
Thank you. By the way, you can have a look at this.
Obena, Khan, Burnett. So, everyone else is sick?
It's okay. I know what you're thinking. And you're right. The overall outcome indicates that the cost was worth it.
Right. Don't think that way, Navia. One person might be saved at the expense. Malus and Silver were not the price for saving anyone.
You're right. Thank you. What you said just now was pretty.
Oh.
Seems you've become more eloquent in the time since we last met.
The knave?
Ah. Is everything going well on your side?
Yes. My people are carrying out the mission according to your request. All the residents of Poisson have been evacuated, and we're... As for these supplies, we have everything taken care of. There is no need to worry.
Thank you very much.
Wait, do you two...
We just met recently. Right.
Usually, I would call this a coincidental encounter. But that doesn't quite fit this time. Thanks to the Knave, Spina di Rosula received generous support from the Fatui, which allowed us to complete the rescue and
Mutual aid is essential to fostering positive developments. We were already in the area, in any case, so it was nothing. That said, I must say that you're a lot sharper than you let on.
I apologize for all the ways in which I tested you previously. We've never worked with a Fatui before, and it's extremely important for us. My subordinates have reported that Fatui soldiers have been observing water levels and taking head counts in various locations.
This is nothing to brag about, nor do I intend to. It is simply the way of powerful organizations to act forcefully, whether they are doing good. As I've told this traveler before, I know of the prophecy, and I intend to prevent the... Lending your organization a hand was a natural first step in accomplishing that. As such, do not be troubled by this token of our
Without your help, there would have been many more casualties.
Furthermore, I sincerely regret what happened to Malus and Silver. I only wish that my people...
Don't say that. You and your subordinate... As Paimon said, Malus and Silver didn't choose to sacrifice themselves for any specific person. I've never liked hearing people put it that way. It's like trying to relieve pain by saying some nope.
You're right. I'm sorry for your loss, Miss. Water is life to Fontaine's people, and it also spells disaster. It's no wonder that people always say that prophecies represent fate.
So, you're one who will try to change fate?
Of course. That is why I'm going to Hotel Bouffe de Terre. I still have some things to take care of. By the way, traveler, Paimon, one more thing.
All right, then we'll just... Huh? This is...
That is a clever and useful conversation technique, which I do like to use when necessary. Traveler, I'm sure you remember that I said we could work together when we had the... You and I both know that there may be issues with the Primordial Sea. Previously, it was the Fortress of Meripede's sluice gate. Indeed. Allow me to share the latest intel I've received. During some recent investigations, a child claimed to have discovered some ruins near Poisson. The ruins date back to ancient times. Judging by the dating of the ruins, they may be related to the prophecy and the coming crisis. The situation is becoming more urgent. My people initially came to prepare for ruin exploration. Unexpectedly.
So that's why the Fatui were...
I wanted to take the children along, but unfortunately, Linny, Lynette, and Fremine have all been Linny told me that outside of the house, the person they trust... Which is why I want to give you this task. The House of the Hearth's members see each other as family, but Linny, Lynette, and Fremine said that they also see you. I'm sure you already understand how earnest they can...
Oh! That's...
The intel I just shared about the ruins could fetch a high price. But since the children consider you family, it's only...
Got it! So all we gotta do is go to some ruins, right? situation.
Excuse me, but may I tag along?
You wish to join, Miss Navia?
But are you sure you're up to explore?
Well, I'm sad, yes. But there's no point in being depressed while we still have a disaster on our hands. As my father... Besides, I'm also doing this...
Since you put it that way, I have no objections. All right. The ruins are to the south.
Okay, the three of us will handle it. So, are these the ruins the knave was talking?
They seem to be pretty...
Let's go in and
Just be careful.
Brace yourself. Motion to compel.
Illusion shattered! Torn to oblivion! Shine down!
This place has also been contaminated by primordial...
Yeah. And a lot of it, too. A Fontanian would most likely dissolve the moment...
Right! You can't go down if there's primordial seawater. It's too dangerous, and it won't be any help for you to just... don't get Paimon wrong. We're not...
No, you're right. I can't do anything in this situation. That complicates things.
In that case, do you want to wait for a...
The water levels here are unstable, and there's a chance the water... I'll go together with you. Perhaps we'll find the exit just up ahead.
All right. Come with... Oh no, it's a dead end! Let's try climbing over from the side.
There's something wrong with this bridge!
Navia!
Demoiselle.
Huh?
Demoiselle, what are you doing here by yourself? Would you be standing here till dark?
Maybe she just wants some time to herself, Malus.
Hmm?
Yes, it...
That's quite possible.
Oh, right. It must have slipped my mind when I dozed off. This is a familiar...
Is something the matter, Demoiselle?
Oh, no. I was just trying to recall what...
Do you remember Mr. Giverny? He'd requested our help before with foreign merchants who had a debt dispute with...
We were headed to see how things were going.
Ah, right.
Oh, Miss Navia. Ah, Mr. Malus. And Mr. Silver, too.
How...
I've been great. Thanks to your help, those bothersome merchants finally realized that I wasn't the one they were looking. They were knocking at my door day and night. Even my neighbor, Obina, was getting...
Sometimes force is required to calm someone...
That's right. Oh, by the way, Burnett, what was it that you wanted to give to Miss
Oh, yes, Miss Navia. These are some flower seeds that I prepared. Please take them. They're very good for... I don't know what we would have done without your help. So this is a little token of...
Ah, did you cultivate them yourself? Thank you.
Why, we can have as many pots as you'd like, Demoiselle.
Perfect. In that case, we'll swap out some of the decorative plants.
Very well.
Wait. Excuse me, madam. If I'm not
That's right.
No, it's nothing. This is the first time we've ever met, but your name... I've heard this name before. And why are there so few people around here?
We must mind the time, Demoiselle. We still haven't...
Huh? We do?
Well, now,
Miss Navia, here you are. I've been looking for you. Please, come to the Opera House. Your
My trial?
Yes, she's right, Demoiselle. It's just...
Oh?
Look, it's Navia! She's here!
And her two attendants are with her. Goodness, everyone's finally here.
There sure are a lot of people here to see the trial. And they all seem to be oddly... Karina, Desiree, Joyville, Jolien, Essen. Why are so many people here? And why do I have no recollection of this case? And as for the judge... huh? Where's Monsieur Neuvillette?
please sit in the defendant's seat. Don't worry, sir.
All right, but...
Typically, it wouldn't be allowed, but...
Hey, what kind of place do they think this is?
Come on, do they have any idea what...
Enough with the whispering!
My dear Miss Navia, have you not yet realized, as all here know, you are Master Callus's successor, the head. After you took over the Spina, you treated all of us just like the late Master Callus had. If anyone in need, not only you, but your butler, your subordinates, nearly everyone in the Spina...
Wait a moment.
Yes, correct. Absolutely right. And that is why you step. We are one big family, all of us who are from Poisson, inextricably linked. And with you being... Therefore, this fair and honorable court shall declare you guilty, and you...
Huh? Everything you have said is correct. I have indeed done a lot for...
Ah, well...
How wonderful!
I know all these people. Why are they laughing?
I seem to...
Wait just a moment. This isn't right!
Malus?
What was that, Mr. Malus? Our conclusion is very clear and unanimous. Let the court judge her now.
Stay here, Navia! You're one of us!
Demoiselle, don't admit guilt. This trial means to keep you...
I wish to exercise my right to defend Our Lady. Mr. Joinville...
She was born a free and independent spirit. She has never been tied down by anything.
Her actions cannot serve as proof that she identifies herself as part of any group. She merely acted as an individual. Please do not mistake her actions.
Really? As an individual, you say? Don't forget, we are all Fontanians here. This is the nation of justice. Even if Miss Navia only voluntarily rendered her assistance, that doesn't change the fact that her beautiful soul must return to everyone. Water accepts all, blends. Everything is measured here in the nation of Hydro. And in the end, everyone shall meld together. Thus, when a Now, I speak for everyone. Our opinion is consistent. Navia should stay. We and Navia
And you would call this justice? Preposterous. You! Have you forgotten how much you all once...
Do you mean to defy our justice?
If your justice is flawed, then why should we acknowledge it?
As you said, we can also have our own justice. And that is how...
My head...
Demoiselle.
Silver, it hurts. My head... I remember now. Everything that seemed odd. Karina, Desiree, Joyville, Jolien, Essen, and Mr. Giverny and Mrs. Burnett, who we met earlier. Even Malus and Silver. I don't want to admit it, but they're all dead.
Don't be afraid, and don't admit guilt. We will protect...
Absurd! Who are you to say that she cannot be judged? We are the majority, and in the name... Don't let them escape! We shall keep not...
Mr. Malus and Mr. Silver, must you be so stubborn? How could the two of you possibly hope to stand against the collective? Do not resist. This judgment is fair and just. Navia belongs to us. After all that happened, she should not be left alone in Poisson.
What are you saying?
No more excuses!
He says we're jealous. Jealous? How could she possibly be?
What's with these people?
Who's jealous of her?
She belongs to us.
Miss Navia.
Silence!
That's...
Monsieur Neuvillette!
Such commotion is prohibited in the court. The accusations you just presented are nonsense and cannot constitute a proper trial. The court will adjourn for the rest of the day. In this, I shall hear no objections.
Our thanks, Miss...
Please leave with me, Miss Navia, while there is still...
But...
Go on now, demoiselle. This is your only chance to leave this place.
Malus.
My apologies. I couldn't resist making one little joke once I realized that this shall be our last goodbye.
Malus. Silver.
Quickly, you must come.
Goodbye.
Farewell.
No, wait! Just a second!
Navia?
You're awake. Good.
I must have been dreaming. Malus and Silver were still alive, and...
It looks like you're all right.
Did all the sad feelings cause you to have a nightmare?
The ruins you were exploring suffered a cave-in. When I arrived, I found you falling toward the water. You were just about to be dissolved within, but... I think I saw 2 Oceanids protecting you. It was only for a moment, perhaps even a fraction of a sec. Were it not for their intervention, I would not have been able...
Wait, did you say Oceanids? You mean like what happened with Vache?
Perhaps those 2
I always told them that they didn't have to protect me.
Please come with me.
Neuvillette, are you okay?
Oh, I am quite all...
Why do you look so stiff? Oh, Paimon knows. You're the type who feels awkward with...
I merely thought that we should give Navia some time to...
Huh? Why didn't you just say so then? Don't you...
I suppose so. Ah, Sigewinne. I hope all is well with her these days. Her work in the fortress of...
No way, don't worry. She's doing fine now.
I see. Well, that is good. I have always...
Oh, and the Duke also says hi. Even though Sigewinne made him do that. He hopes that you haven't been...
Thank you. I have indeed been busy lately.
He still doesn't know what to talk about. Never... this isn't going anywhere.
Yes, in fact. I had arranged to meet you in Poisson, but when I arrived, I discovered that amid my astonishment, I ran into the knave, and we had a chat. She informed me that...
Yeah, we originally planned to meet up with you, but we thought you might still be busy with all those official documents. We didn't think exploring the ruins would take very long, and who would have thought you'd wrap things up so...
I'm sorry to have kept you all waiting like that. I'm feeling much better now. I guess we should get going again. Will you come with us, Monsieur Neuvillette?
Yes, if you wouldn't mind my company.
All right! Another one's going to the party! Let's get going then!
Brace yourselves.
Shine down! Now you shall perish! There is no escape! Boom!
Let's play!
Shine down!
Motion to compel!
Life goes on.
Here we go! Incinerate!
Oh no, another unstable path. Watch your step. Watch out! There are rocks falling over here!
Boom boom!
It seems we're almost at the top. Keep it up!
Yeah. Think you can get away?
There is no escape!
Incinerate!
Wheel of life.
Inazuma shines eternal! Illusion shattered!
Let's play! Wouldn't gliding be faster? Time for takeoff. Motion! The law has loopholes.
There is no escape! Torn to oblivion! Oh.
Rise. Sacred name, fortune preserver. Wow, I didn't feel that.
Think you can get away?
Shine down! Ha! Ha! There is no escape!
Wheel of life.
Let's play!
Looks like we've reached the end.
This is the place. There should not be any other hidden
The path sure had some twists and turns, but it turns out that this place isn't actually that big.
Stone slates. It seems like they were put...
Perhaps we should just leave them be for now.
There are 4 locations in total, but only 3 stone slates. The slate that shipped...
The surrounding walls also...
There's something written below. Let Paimon see.
It feels like someone left these slates and these words here for a purpose. But...
That would fit the circumstances dictated by the prophecy, yes. Indeed, the slates...
There's a person kneeling here. She seems so dedicated. And there's a whole bunch of other people behind her doing the same.
And is that Lady Farina in the 3rd image? Did the Hydro Arc...
And is that a ring of people around him?
The 4th image. I know this one.
The people will all be dissolved into the waters, and only the Hydro Archon will remain, weeping on her throne. More information should be hidden in these slates, but I fear I cannot easily uncover it, most likely due to us.
Don't blame yourself, Monsieur Neuvillette. Deciphering ancient stone slates isn't one of your duties.
Ooh, Paimon's getting the chills just look. This says that it's the history of the future, right? Still, Paimon...
That's right! If the images are in chronological order, shouldn't the 4th, the waters drowning Fontaine, come before the 3rd? Were the Hydro Archon herself?
And yet the order is reversed here.
If we go by timing, Lady Farina only emerges in the 3rd image. That means that the person in the 2nd image might...
Egeria, then. I had never met her, but her appearance here does match the records. The previous Archon kneeling before the floating island in the skies, as if confessing a sin.
Did she herself commit that sin? And if not, why would she be in such a posture? Also, I'm still wondering why these ancient stone slates are here at all. Judging from their contents, could this place be the origin of the prophecy? Does that mean that someone, or some people, once saw these slates?
But who would have created...
It seems that any further clues will have to come from...
In that case, there's no time to lose. There's nothing...
Yeah, we better get somewhere safe for now.
Let's split up here. I'm going to check on what's happening with the Spina. You know how it is. There's some things...
You still have energy for that, Navi?
Just head back to the...
I'll depart as well. Thanks for your hard work. Traveler, I will go talk to Farina tomorrow morning. I'm sure that you're concerned about this matter as well. If you have time, drop by my office. I will share the results.
Are you really gonna talk to her about this directly? Will that be a problem?
She has long been harboring secrets, and will not give them up easily. Which makes...
Alright, we'll leave it in your hands then. You're probably the best...
I will be carefully considering my words tonight.
Traveler, Paimon, our safe house at the Flivsandra is always open to you, as ever. So please don't think... All right.
We're finally back!
Welcome back. We've got a special menu prepared for you two tonight.
Yay! And there's good food too! No, the boss is the best. Ooh, desserts! Paimon's already starting to forget what...
Oh, that voice. Is that who I think it...
Huh?
It's you two. What are... Seriously, nobody just uses a scry glass whenever they...
Still, we didn't expect to see you here!
Well, I have some business to attend to here, so I booked a hotel in the city. I was just out for... Why did you think I was from Fontaine, though? Is that because Well, I used to have my own surname, which was... well, some other thing. Either way, the old hag told me when she took... There was nothing for it, really. She really is amazing at astrology, so I changed my name to what it is now according to her wishes. To my surprise, however... Nope. Although it is used by us in place of surnames, it generally just means great.
Wow! Imagine including a book...
I reckon so. In any case, I'd give my disciple a name like this as well, if I were to... Astromancer Barbeloth Trismegistus.
Whoa! That's a long one.
My name means Mona the Great Astrologist. As for the old hag, hers is, in plain speech, the thrice as great Scholar of the Stars.
Thrice as great?
I know, right? That's just how she is. She used to call herself Megistus, actually.
Talk about excessive.
Megistus is thus the calling card of our school, so to speak, which makes it about the same as a surname. It's all right if you don't get it. You can look into it further should you need to study astrology more.
That sounds terrible! But anyway, you're not Fontanian, are you?
Well, I was born in Mondstadt, yes. My parents migrated to Dornman Port, and I traveled with the old hag for a while.
Oh, that's a good thing then. At least we...
Speaking of that, I'm sure you're aware that a bunch of things have happened here in Fontaine, right? I know you're not a local, but there's something ominous about it. Well, the water, I mean. That was the main reason, yes. Just a while back, the Steambird invited me to take part in a panel and speak about the circulation of the prophecy as an astrologist. The invitation was sent quite early on. I don't think anyone expected Fontaine to...
What do you make of that prophecy, Mona? Just tell us what you think as an astrologist. Your word would go...
What I can tell you is that I'm an astrologist, and that this prophecy concerns the fate of Fontaine, even that of Ultivat. Ascertaining this is akin to reading the fortune of the whole world. I'm afraid that this is not something that just anyone can do. If I could do it, you would no longer call... But on the flip side, the prophecy is so huge and powerful that it must surely come from a power...
A visionary? Sounds really powerful and all, but does such a person really exist?
Of course. The old hag could do it. And I'd bet there are others amongst those Hexenzirkel colleagues of hers who could do something similar. All right.
Thanks, Mona! You're amazing as always!
Oh, well, this is something only...
That's the greatest of astrologists for you! Of all the people we know!
Indeed, indeed!
Oh, sorry. I came to see what all the commotion was about.
Oh, whoops. Guess we were getting a little too carried away there. Well, I'll go tend to my own business now.
And there she goes, quick as rushing water. And here we are with the Spina guy giving us suspicious looks. If Paimon hadn't spoken for you, it'd be you getting all the weird looks. That's more like it. Good morning. To be honest, Paimon's still feeling kind of sleepy. But it's time to get up, Traveler. We agreed to go see Neuvillette, so let's pack it up and get going.
My research had so much potential.
Leaving the Ministry of External Relations is definitely something.
The food in the cafeteria is excellent, if you're lucky enough to make it in.
You're here! Finally!
Is
Monsieur Neuvillette and Lady Farina, they...
Like I said, I've already explained everything.
And yet the problem has not been properly solved. There is little space for excuses between us. It is not my intention to offend you, but please, tell me where you stand. Look at this. This is a list of the...
You mean... there...
We did not arrive in time to avert this disaster, and I will not. I will say this once more. You must tell me everything you know. Yesterday, I found 3 stone slates in some ancient ruins near Poisson. Do you know anything about those?
Seriously? You're questioning me like this is a court case now. I don't know anything about that. But you found that...
That's correct, which is why I came to ask you some questions. There should have been 4 slates, but one of them was missing. The second of these slates depicts the previous Hydro Archon Egeria kneeling before a floating island in the sky, as if confessing something. Do you know nothing of this either?
I don't.
I'll ask you again. Do you really have no information regarding the previous Archon? My deciphering of the slates indicates that the Hydro Archon Egeria once had to confess to or apologize.
All gods don't have the same secrets, you know. She was herself and I'm me. I understand your concerns, but I'm sorry. I just don't have anything to tell you.
Forgive me for saying this now, Lady Farina, but I have long known of your various secret investigations. There are several indications that you have been investigating the... This is not strange in itself, considering that you are the Hydro Archon. But it is strange that you should also claim to not know. You have never been as superficial as you have presented yourself to be, nor are you a fool. And yet, your behavior...
So you... Well, since you know about my secret investigations, then there's no point questioning or suspecting me. You're the Eudix, but you're still my subordinate. You should just trust in me, your Archon, and do as I say. Never mind whether you can truly convince yourself to or not. It'll all turn out fine. That's all I have to say. We do not discuss this. Oh, the opera's about...
Did Farina not notice us standing by the door? Wonder what's up with her. She was smiling. She didn't seem in the mood to care if we were listening in or not.
I assume you've been outside for a while now?
Oh! You noticed! Seems...
She was in a great panic, though I cannot discern the reason. Our discussion reached impasses time and again, a state of affairs that we cannot allow to continue. Still, I do not understand. Dialogue is the basis for understanding, so why did she keep refusing to engage? Everyone in her inner circle has noticed that she is hiding some secret. We may have to create a situation in which she will have...
Oh?
Normally, people will only reveal the truth when standing trial. Perhaps...
But Farina's seen so many trials, and she's really good at dodging questions.
We will need to consider this thoroughly, join forces with If at all possible, I would prefer to recuse myself from this affair, but this may be cruel to her. But all Fontaine is in crisis. The information a god possesses is too precious. But who will lend us the...
Well, that's Speaking of which, it was pretty smart of you to think of hiding here.
Poisson was just involved in a disaster, so it's presently devoid of people.
And here you are drinking tea like it's the most natural thing.
That's what family should do.
It's nice to enjoy tea here, you know? Care for a cup?
Lend me your ears, everyone. Or perhaps one of you might like to start us off. How about you?
Me?
Then, how about you, good
I fear that I will cause the mood on this boat to become as somber as...
Well then, I guess we're lucky we've got a local like me to organize things. Wonderful.
That was a little long-winded.
Oh, you might be right. Anyway, to cut to the chase, our friend here, the Traveler, has brought us together to discuss something. As for what that is, well, let's start by saying that we'll be
Oh? How?
Well, it's just an expression, really. One that I just learned from Chlorand, and used on the spot.
Huh? Didn't you say—
Oh, come now. Your work doesn't involve much public speaking, right? This is a good chance to practice. You might—
I see. And—
He is glad that you consider him—
In that case, do any of you have experience?
Not that I recall.
Fremine and I once used a wooden stick in a basket to catch wild rabbits when we were younger. As for Lynette—
I've also gone diving to catch some fish before. does...
I'm afraid not. You may or may not have heard, but though that was their name, they did not hunt animals, but rather various monsters. Today, Fontaine's monster population has already thinned greatly, so the hunters have blended back into society, taking up arms in other lines of work. They even left a unique A trap comprises of the following components: bait, a trigger, and a containment device. So, if we were to build a trap together, right now...
For me, I would prefer something basket-shaped. Pigeons and Our line of work requires a deft hand, and we're some of the best in the industry.
You used some of those techniques while moving the people of Poisson, didn't you? My subordinates mentioned that you even performed...
Yes, and I even managed to gather some intelligence in the meantime.
I'm afraid I can't claim that as my strong suit. I prefer more stable methods, like placing bait in the...
Calm and steady. Exactly the kind of
And I can be their assistant.
With discretion, I'm sure.
I'd probably use some sort of mechanical animal. Papa once bought me some small clockwork squirrels, mice, and such. When placed in the forest, I remember that you liked those too, didn't you?
I did. And that would be a good way to go about it. If they're realistic enough, animals of the same kind will follow them all the way to the trap.
What about you, Monsieur
I fear I do not have any related
That makes sense. You usually solve problems directly, but I do have one more question for you. If we were to create a trap now, how would you design?
I would like for it to be effective, but bring no harm to the prey. A more...
Kind, as always. However, our intention doesn't necessarily change. If we wanted to kill the prey in one strike, we would need a powerful implement. However, that also goes for prey that must be captured and safely contained.
Wait, why's that?
Only a hunter who's a true expert at subduing their prey can snare it without harming it.
We hadn't thought of seeing ourselves as hunters. It kinda...
If our means of capturing and dealing with our prey is to put them on trial, then the hunt... But we shall require much more courage than any hunter to judge a god. A being whose seat is an exalted throne.
Oh, so that...
It's been a tough few days, hasn't it? So much has been happening. Paimon didn't think the meeting... Paimon thought they'd be at least a little frightened. Well, Fremine was, now that Paimon thinks about it, but everyone else just looked a little well... It's hard to say. Paimon doesn't have any experience with this sort of thing. But with you around, Paimon sure will do great. After all, you're the most reliable person in the world, aren't you? Did you just pour some tea? Then what? Paimon's never seen that cup before.
Don't be frightened. I'm just joining you.
Who's that voice?
Aw, have you...
Wait, you are familiar.
The voice from the sky, You're feeling lost now, just as you were feeling previously. I sensed that confusion and thus came to you. Guiding people isn't... Consider me a passerby. The prophecy. Yes, what has been prophet-
What? Then is there any way we can stop it?
I believe you have witnessed a failed attempt with your own eyes. Can everything in Tevat so easily be changed? Ah, so you've caught on. Just as prophecies are usually only the future as seen from the perspectives of the gods, could things be— are the things that you shall see different from the fate that the gods perceive?
What is she talking about? It all sounds really impressive and important and stuff, but...
I believe that you understand, right? Some things are insignificant. Ultimately, fate shall serve as your only guide, no matter what will happen. This was good tea, but...
The voice. What? I hear someone talking. All right, coming! Hey, it's you!
Well, I see I've walked in on some lively banter. Fine, just fine. I went to take part in that Steambird Not all Fontanians are pessimistic about this. One journalist mentioned that sitting around and waiting for the end to come would be wrong, and that they should make their own rescue preparations. I agreed, so we had a—
did you?
Why, yes, it was Charlotte. I assume you've heard of her, no? I'm in full support of her view. Prophecies are very important, but how can—
That's right!
yes. About what we had discussed before. I did try, but I'm afraid I couldn't reach the old hag. I'll try again tonight. Huh? Goodness gracious. Are you serious?
She said that even the god's gaze has blind spots. Pretty bold if you ask Paimon. Most people would believe the gods to be all-knowing, right?
The Hexen Circle members are certainly anything but ordinary. As for the mage named N, the old hag has mentioned her a few times. She said that N's sense of direction is incredible, and that she loves guiding those who are lost. But I've never met her, and if she were still alive, she'd be... well...
Whoa. The Hexen Circle sounds like a scary group.
Their abilities alone are pretty terrifying. If she came to see you personally, then...
Well, it's not like Paimon could understand anything.
Yes, she was quite cryptic, but I suspect she means that there is still a way to turn things... Perhaps it is something that you... Traveler, Paimon?
Oh, we're fine. We're just a little down right now.
I see. I guess you could consider me someone who has often witnessed fate. So far as I have seen it, but even so, I still hope for, and believe in, miracles. Astrology is eternal and rational. Perhaps that's what N was trying to tell you. Not to lose heart, and to believe that what you are seeing playing out before you is not yet set in stone. I did originally think of steering clear of all this, but I couldn't. Even if this is all futile, I still wish to help everyone. If we don't struggle to the last, then how can we face the end when it comes?
Huh. You do have a point.
There I go, talking about astrological principles again. Sorry about that. The moment I start, it was worth trying to comfort you, even if only a little. I believe that you'll help those who are struggling in the same way I did. I suppose that might be what...
Paimon feels kinda moved by what Mona said. But also... Hey, Traveler! Paimon suddenly feels like going outside for a walk. Let's go! Let's walk around the city, shall we? There's a few spots we always like to walk by. Huh? Our names are written in this... Let Paimon see! The underwater stronghold, the Fortress of Meripede, has continued in its noble My recent attempts to enter the fortress bore little fruit. Thus, did an Outlander friend become the focus of this report, a blonde adventurer with their white fairy legends trailing in their wake. So while the fortress's interior remains a mystery behind closed doors, do not fear, for the journalist Charlotte's biggest scoop yet, the Traveler's Trick. Charlotte took so many awesome photos of us, she hasn't been able to get a hold of anything at the fortress, so since we're easier to find, she's using us as the subject matter instead? Ugh, seriously? Well, fine. Those We're here! Paimon's hungry. Should we go in and get something to eat? Hey, quick! Look! That's the limited edition, only 16 slices a day cake! It was so delicious the last time we tried it! Despite the tense situation we were in, let's give it another go! I'm sure it'll be great!
One slice of cake, please.
Someone showed up after all! Oh, wait, you're the one from the Palais Mermonia!
Oh, are you here to buy cake too?
Wait!
That's right. Even he has his own preferences when it comes to food.
Do you come here often?
Usually every day.
Every day?
It's part of my daily schedule, apart from work. I shall have my cake and...
Then what if someone told you one day that this place would be closing soon, and you wouldn't get to eat cake here anymore?
But why would it close?
Well, Paimon doesn't know either, but...
Oh, the prophecy. To be honest, I haven't paid much attention to that. No, it's the same for eating in general. You might not be able to eat tomorrow, but if you can do so today, then you should carry on. That's what people call
Huh.
Don't be sad. Excuse me, could I have 2 more slices of cake? These 2 slices are for you. Sijuin said that this kind of expression you're making is what humans call...
Oh, you know Sijuin?
I sure do. She was born before me, and she sometimes comes to the surface. She said that humans are creatures that are saddened easily. Yes, and I've got something else to do, so I'll be going now. You two try...
And there she goes! Alright, let's dig in. It's more delicious than last time! And the flavor gets even better with a sip of tea! It sure would be nice if we could always eat delicious food here. We're near the Steambird office. Let's go look for Charlotte and have a chat.
Wow! If it isn't the Traveler and Paimon! Oh,
Ha! You've got some nerve! You just...
oh, you needn't worry about that. I heard that you were in Poisson. It's all right, though. I've set aside the amount intended for you. I've even set the table. It's...
Really?
You're almost a little too easy to win over, Paimon. If I were a journalist with ulterior motives, you'd be in trouble.
Oh, Paimon knows your...
Still, what brings you here all of a sudden?
A friend of ours met you a while back, and when she mentioned it, we thought of coming to see you. Her name's...
Ah, so you know Miss Mona as well. She's a guest columnist for our paper. Really? So she mentioned me? What did she say?
She said that you're a real
Nice. In which case, can this daredevil journalist dare to request any...
Huh? So you're...
Oh, of course it doesn't. That was more like live photography. What I'd like to do is dive deeper and ask you to talk about the things you've seen and experienced.
Yeah, are we even...
Why not? If I say you're worth an interview, then you're worth it.
But, oh, in that case...
Oh, so that's a yes? Ooh, splendid! I'll tell the editor-in-chief immediately. I'll have to apply. Whew, so much to get done now.
Wait, Charlotte, Paimon's still got a question for you.
And what's that?
If, just for example,
Huh, that's the prophecy you're talking about, isn't it? I mean, I do hear about it often, but if you're seriously asking, then I might try and think of a way to leave Fontaine. Oh, but I'm still a journalist first and foremost. That means I have a duty to be reporting from the scene. And from what I've seen, most people don't know what they'd do should the worst come to pass. In truth, it might be better. So in all likelihood, I'd probably still be prepping at the office for that interview of ours. I know what you're thinking. Just think about it. If this nation really were to be suddenly destroyed tomorrow, but I still succeed, and then do you know what I'd do? Well, I'd write that story, send it for printing, and use messenger pigeons to get copies out to... I'm not a dreamer, nor am I a workaholic. But I do love my job, and I'd be proud of leaving such an article behind. I guess you could say that, but anyway, that's my answer.
That's... so... Anyway, let's go and take a look at the sea, shall we? The sea breeze and scenery can be a pretty soothing combo, huh? Paimon's been thinking. If it wasn't Fontaine, but all of Tevat that would be destroyed... No, Paimon should ask if you could... We've always been moving to the next destination, so we haven't spent much time thinking about these kinds of things. We didn't have to. You mean, still traveling? Huh. Wait. Like you'll grow mold if you stay here. But it's still better than the Fortress of Mirapede, that's for sure.
Ah, so the two of you are still here.
Oh, you're from the Palais Mermonia!
Yes, I'm Isadora. Monsieur Nervillet sent me to look for you two before. I heard that afterward you went to the Fortress of Mirapede. Not at all. I'm well aware that you're friends of his. Actually, I'm here to pass along a message from him. Yes, inside the Opera House. The Marish...
A riot?
Well, that said, Lady Farina was watching a performance at the Opera House, and while she was resting during an intermission, loudly accusing her of doing nothing about the prophecy crisis. And before she could respond, others started to join in. The crowd continued to grow, and protests against the Hydro Archon started to break out.
So people have started to put the blame on Farina. Guess they finally found an outlet for the pressure they've been under due to the prophecy.
I agree. People will naturally rely on gods, as is customary. But the moment people feel threatened...
So what happened after that is Farina...
Seeing that the situation was spiraling out of control and that further argument was pointless, she claimed that she'd gotten tired of this and left in a hurry. The Marechaussee Phantom had their hands full maintaining order and did not catch where Lady Farina had gone. Only when...
So, you mean she's still...
That's right. The Marechaussee has dispatched many people to search for her. But that said, I don't think there's much to worry about. She is a god after all. Even if she were to fall into the hands of rioters, what could ordinary... Good. Monsieur Nervillette sent me to tell you...
Don't worry, this is more...
Ah, is that so?
Well, sounds like we should hurry over to Poisson then. If we know Farina, she won't try to fix things in this situation. And as we also know, she may be When Nervillette was talking to her in the Palais Mermonia, and she heard about Poisson, she couldn't hide her sadness and remorse. It would be hard for her to ignore being accused, but Paimon thinks Farina's probably taken the opportunity to slip away. Huh! Well, what do you think? Paimon knows the answer, of course, but Paimon can dip. In that case, there's not a moment to live. This place looks... Could Farina really be here? Let's try to find her as soon as possible. Huh, that's Farina, right over there. She...
What was meant to happen did happen after all. I'm sorry. I am so... Give up. I'm sorry, but what can I even do? Who's that?
Don't worry, Farina. So, Farina, you were crying just...
What do you mean, tear stains? Who did that uncivilized rabble think they even dare to tout their Archon? I must teach them a lesson. Oh, and I'm sure Neuvillette and those people from the Marechaussee Phantom are freaking out right now.
Hey, there she is! The Hydro Archon's over there! Quick, after her!
Farina, those people seem to be after you.
They are? They're just some... That's against the rules. I can't let them get their...
Farina just ran off! Quick, we have to... This should be the place, right? Hey, Farina! There's a good hiding spot over here. Quick, come to...
What? What is...
Hurry, they're almost...
Fine. I suppose haste... I merely gave in to the sheer enthusiasm they display.
Yep, that's a good...
What's happening?
Yeah, A quake of this kind
It can't be.
Well, there's no need to worry too much about that. Novelette's made some emergency plan.
Yeah, but the people of... It's true. I've been investigating the prophecy for I once had informants all over Tevat, searching. I've tried all kinds of ways, too, to hold back the sea, but all my efforts proved to be futile. We cannot make an enemy of the divine. No matter what we do, the will of the heavenly principles will have its way. Give up. I do love the sound of that phrase. Indeed, I've thought about giving up so many times. Fate is really unreasonable, isn't it? It has no heart and no bait, but just now, it all became clear to me. As long as the final moment hasn't come, don't worry. I will... Well, that's enough for now. I got the impulse. Don't take any of what I just said seriously. How could I possibly let Fontaine fall to the wind?
Come on! Paimon could have sworn you were actually...
Cher, that's impossible. It was fated right from the start that this would be my duty alone. A witness. Yes, I've heard that you came to Tevat, and if Tevat is in its entirety,
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes... Now, without further ado...
So this is what it is. Do not forget, however, that I am Focalor, the god of justice.
May I interpret these words as your refusal? In that case, you will have the opportunity to defend your honor through a duel.
You would draw your blade against a god? I see. It seems like you have made up your mind.
Paimon can't believe it.
What the heck is going on?
Wow. How
Lady Farina.
It would seem that there has been a misunderstanding.
Looking for excuse.
I raised my hands just now to indicate I will admit that I've been running away for a long time. I'm sorry, everyone. I was unable to protect. You are not the only ones to be disappointed in me. But now, it is time for the Hydro. I, Farina, will use this trial to show the world the true meaning of justice! This time, I applaud and rejoice. One of the most outrageous and fantastic... Mark my words. This shall be one of the most exhilarating and brilliant shows ever to grace the stage of Fontaine. The trial of the Hydro Archon, Focalor, will now begin!
Woohoo! Oh no! Why does it feel like Farina just took over the whole thing? Also, even though she's still acting super dramatic, she is
All right, then. Who will...
The court asks the prosecutor to please take the stand.
Is that so? Very... So, please allow me to ask, as a final question, just how much work did you do to force me on—
Well, we did do a lot of prep after the meeting that day.
I can go over the tasks assigned to the Spina di Rosula, since they were rather straightforward and easy.
Navia, the president of—
Most of the people who participated in the disturbance this morning were my subordinates. They changed into plain clothes and came to the Opera House as regular audience members, waiting for the perfect opportunity to The people's resentment against their Archon has been building as more and more of the prophecy is fulfilled. Moreover, according to our understanding and analysis of you, when something— So
you mean the ones who—
And their goal was to force you to step into the giant magic box so you may personally participate—
That's right. That house was a magic box.
As the super ultimate version of the setup that I used when I first— The volume of the box was increased by a whole order of magnitude, and the distance it traversed was the entire gap between Poisson and Aranias. Was an Archon in— My thanks, Farina. Without your help, we could never have— Of course, this performance was only made possible with Father's support. The House of the Hearth spent a massive amount of labor in Mora to pull this off. We had to select a location, construct the giant magic box, dig a tunnel, and open up a path through the water. It was a lot of—
So, in other words, the earthquake—
That's right. It wasn't a sign of another disaster to come.
Then, I can guess, Nervilette, you gathered a crowd, prepared a stage, and made sure that also that as soon as I appeared on the stage, the trial may commence—
Yes, that is correct.
Well, Clorand, I must commend you for your courage.
Thank you.
As for you, Traveler, I suppose your role was to keep me distracted. You'd make sure that I didn't notice anything amiss before revealing yourself as my prosecutor once we'd arrived. Oh? It's fine. The stage is already set, so there's no reason to disappoint the audience. Let's see this trial through to—
Sir Prosecutor, please allow me to pass this along. This is a document that Miss Charlotte applied for and received permission to share with you during the trial. According to her, it should speak—
Huh? Charlotte wanted to give us something? Oh, so she's here too. Oh, let Paimon see. Wait. Then that means this document is a perfect timeline of everything that's happened. So in other words, we can refer to this anthology of evidence every time we want to use something from our journey as evidence for an argument. Let's quickly confirm the information in it. Just think of it as a refresher, all right?
You defeated the Hydro Archon in the very first duel you took part in at the Opera House. That's one for the history books, all right. I didn't think that you'd wind up getting to the bottom of the case I'd been following all this time. I guess you could also see this as a happy coincidence. This is the first time Monsieur Nervilette had a difference of opinion with the Oratrice. Even the Hydro Archon can't figure it out. A Fatui Harbinger. She's an extraordinary person. Her instinct must make— The fortress of Meripede was almost destroyed in a single day. According to Monsieur Nervilette, I nearly lost my awesome friend Navia. The words of someone as—
The prosecution and the defense are both in position. The trial shall now begin.
Oh, come on, Nervilette. Just fast forward to the part where the prosecution lays out my offenses. As the defendant and the lead, of course, it is only natural for humans to struggle to understand the actions of a god. However, you will need more than that to convict me of a crime.
That's true, but my charge here is unrelated to your conduct as an Archon. Instead, I would like to charge you as a fraud who's never been the Archon in the first place.
Wait, what was that? Lady Farina's a fraud?
Hey, I came here thinking that we were going to try the...
Charge accepted. Lady Farina, do you plead guilty? Lady Farina.
I plead not guilty. There is no way that I, Focalor, otherwise known as Farina de Fontaine, a member of the Seven and the Regina of all waters, kindreds, peoples, and laws of Fontaine, could be anything other.
Yeah, even though Lady Farina can be rather eccentric.
Yeah, I've never questioned her identity either. Sure, Lady Farina...
I have cause to believe that common sense will prevail in this case. Many of the members of the audience have known me as the Hydro Archon ever since they were born. See? Even the Oratrice has decided to show me its favor. Are you sure? If you wish to drop the case, I can promise you as the God of Justice that you will not have to face trial for making...
An argument with near impossible odds, huh? You have to not only refute Farina's claims...
Well, I tried to give you the chance to surrender. And if I was not the Archon, then how...
That doesn't sound right. Paimon doesn't think this... First of all, you may be a member of another long-lived race, which would allow you to naturally possess an extended lifespan. And
Who gave you that idea? Was it the knave? You'd sink so low as to use a harbinger's words against me.
A curse? I once thought it possible that the aura of an Archon might... But in light of this claim, perhaps what I sensed was not your divinity, but a curse after all.
You sensed it too, huh, Nervalet?
Lady Farina. Well, it is true that it's extremely difficult to tell.
Well, don't start celebrating too early now. Even besides, everyone knows that the main difference between a human and a god is the possession of authority. Gods can do what humans cannot. That for centuries, manifestations of my authority, one need only to turn their eyes towards the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinal in this very...
You tried to reference the Oratrice. But weren't you as confused as all the rest of us when the Oratrice declared child to be...
Didn't I make myself clear at the time? The decisions of the gods are not...
Lady Farina, I believe a reminder, while the court is in session, the principles of justice, you will prove yourself unable to defend against the prosecution's charges if you continue...
I never thought... You...
That was no trick of rhetoric, Lady Farina. I've merely reiterated the...
So, you neither knew why Child was declared guilty, nor did you understand, instead of having been created by you, the manifestations of authority you mentioned have been made by the
real Hydro Archon. Well, it is true that I did not know why, but the Oratrice handed out that verdict unilaterally. And you can't argue that just because...
She's still throwing out all kinds of excuses. Seems like she's confident that we won't be able to produce proof that she has no power.
My power as an Archon.
If that poses a concern, I'm prepared...
You don't need to go that far.
Aren't you the Hydro Archon? Or...
Indemnitium! Yes! It's all because of Indemnitium! All Archons derive their power from the faith of the... Thus did I give up all of my divine power to provide everyone with...
Isn't that...
Yeah, no matter how generous an Archon can be, how could they give up all their power?
Seems like nobody's buying Farina's excuse.
Hey, come now, everyone. Please, I'm still the same Farina, please.
If what the prosecutor said is true, she would—
Did she deceive all of us? And all of our parents and grandparents too?
Enough. That's enough. Tell me then, if you have no evidence of another Hydro Archon's exist—
Wow, she came up with yet another— that doesn't sound right. It has been established that all fun—
Since you insist on claiming to be a god and not a human, then there's a method that you can use right here and—
Miss Navia, please apply to serve as a temporary attorney for the prosecution before addressing the court. Though you act in part—
Super sorry, Monsieur Chief Justice. I swear that— Now, I've brought some seawater from Poisson. As everyone knows, a massive flood struck— including those of— So, Miss Farina, if we are to believe that you are indeed the real Hydro Archon, touching this seawater would have— But, if you don't dare to touch it, then we would have basically proved the reverse. Oh, and I must remind you that after the disaster at Poisson, nobody wants to see any more— I do hope you'll act prudently and choose the simpler path of admitting—
Navia from the Spina di Rasula. The Spina has governed Poisson for—
If Lady Farina is indeed just a human, she's probably Fontanian like all—
Lady Farina, this test has been unilaterally proposed by the prosecution, as it falls outside the realm of standard court—
Well, of course he had to tell her that, but refusing to participate—
She's just staring at the water without saying a single word.
What's going on? Is she
Due to the inherent risk of the test, Lady Farina.
Hey! I'm fine! Look at me, everyone! Will you believe me now? I really am your Archon!
Miss Siegewien? If you're present, Miss Siegewien, please come forward and attend to the defendant.
Siege? Don't be nervous. It'll just take a few— That should be enough.
Please announce the results of your evaluation.
As everyone doubtlessly saw, Miss Farina was displaying symptoms of hyperventilation. She was experiencing the adverse effects of exposure to primordial seawater. The extent to which she was affected—
Thank you, Miss Siegewien. Lady Far—
Oh, wait. What did she just say? I didn't get dissolved—
Well, considering your tendency to run from your problems, we did originally prepare a direct sample of the seawater. However, after extensive discussion, we exchanged it for a sample that is not concentrated enough to dissolve an actual human. We don't want anyone else to lose their—
Yeah, so out of regard for Farina's life, you secured a low-concentration sample. It's a great thing that the direct sample wasn't actually used.
I can't believe— Listen to me, everyone! Please don't give me— Think about it! How can you conclusively prove that an Archon— Also, if I was really just a human— Please, anyone, just listen to me! I swear, I really am your Archon!
I
don't think anything she says at this point will sway any.
With all the things that have been said, Paimon doesn't think there's...
I believe the time for arguments and presentation of evidence has come to an end. If there are no objections, we will move on to the final judgment.
I don't think anything she says at this point will sway anyone who's two-stepped against her now.
In my capacity as Chief Justice, I shall now render judgment on Farina's misrepresentation of herself as the Archon of Fontaine. As a human who knowingly deceived her fellow citizens, Farina is... guilty. We shall now turn to the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse Cardinale to render the final verdict on the charges. According to the judgment of the Oratrice Mécanique d'Analyse...
Well, what's wrong? What's the Oratrice...
No. The Oratrice also displays a guilt.
Isn't that correct then?
However, the exact word to be punished via the death sentence.
That's actually one of the available sentences? I've always thought...
The one and only time the death sentence has been handed out at the court. And it's been given to the very person we...
Farina's been sentenced to death by the Oratrice?
This outcome is indeed quite strange. According to... Is this sentence really appropriate for the crimes that have...
Yeah! Even Fauché wasn't sentenced to death by the Oratrice. You know, the real evil mastermind behind the serial disappearances case.
Indeed. Not only is Farina's sentence overly excessive, but now, the Oratrice seems to have deliberately invoked the title of the...
Excuse me, if I may interrupt. Is the trials...
Fremine! You finally made it.
Mm-hmm. Any mission...
Is that the first prophecy slate? Huh. So the name...
I looked everywhere and finally found it at the bottom of the sea. But has the trial already concluded? Then...
Thank you for your hard work, Mr. Fremine. Please allow me to Traveler, I believe that you have already seen the other existing slates, and would like...
Huh? So what do you see? What is it?
I believe I've now made sense of the Hydro Archon's crime. It has to do with Fontaine.
Huh? Isn't the Hydro Archon just guilty of deceiving her people? Oh, wait. So when you say Hydro Archon, do you mean...
In truth, everything that you've encountered in Fontaine up until this point can be traced back to the contents of these stones. However, I'm uncertain as to how much sense they currently make to you.
Okay, let's try to recall the contents of the other 3 stone slates. Stone slate describes what you just said. It seems to show the previous Hydro Archon using her divine power, and then the Oceanids. Does that mean that Fontainians are transformed Oceanids? Oh, Paimon, the second stone slate shows Celestia floating in the sky, and the Hydro Archon and her people worship. This must be the point when the Hydro Archon and the Fontainians were branded with their original sin. The third slate shows the Hydro Archon seeking and... There were Well, the fourth slate is the prophecy the Fontanians have been talking about. People dissolving into the sea, the Hydro-Arch. We didn't believe that such a crazy disaster could happen at first, did we? But after... That doesn't... That doesn't sound... That doesn't...
The prophecy from the stone slates found its way into society. The fortress of Meropide was nearly flooded with primordial seawater, which we know can cause Fontanians to dissolve. If we hadn't dealt with it in time... We know from the case of the serial disappearances of... And the first stone slate tells us that long ago, the Hydro... This might be the reason that Fontanians can dissolve... Perhaps what is about to take place... The true sin of the Hydro-Archon and the original sin cast down on the people of... It's not as simple as when Navia fell into... The stone slates show the people gathered around the Hydro-Archon in the sea.
They'll dissolve into the primordial sea, but won't cease to exist. Their essence will flow in the sea. The Hydro-Archon was sentenced to death in court, shocking everyone present. Navia fell into the water inside those ruins, and she nearly dissolved. She was surrounded by the people of Poisson in a court within her consciousness. The eruption of the primordial sea at the fortress of Meropide was the surest sign that the prophecy's contents can all be verified by recent events. If we... Huh? Oh, Paimon gets it now! But then it feels like...
Let's hear them.
Incredible.
All Fontanians were originally created. The evidence for that can be found in how only Fontanians could... Oh, and according to Navia, when she was about to get dissolved...
Indeed.
Yeah, and it follows from the content of the first slate that she probably angered Celestia. That could also explain why the Oratrice judged the Hydro-Archon to be guilty. It's to account for that ancient...
The Hydro-Archon's true sin was creating...
And yet, after many hundreds of years, the Hydro-Archon's creations have turned around to try to judge the Archon within the Opera Epiclese.
Yeah! Isn't the image here just like when Navia fell into the sea? So wouldn't it be trying to show the image of the Hydro-Archon also falling into the sea once the prophecy has been fulfilled in the fourth slate? In the end, the people will all be dissolved into the waters. And did Paimon get all that right?
You've made some keen deductions. I must say, given how much you still don't know, it is impressive that you've already managed to connect. However, while you were able to decode all the information on the slates, when we were at the ruins, I tried to decipher the hidden information. Now that the slate collection is complete, I shall make another attempt to decipher.
I believe I should share this truth not only with you, but with all the people of Fontaine. Your hypotheses regarding the origin of Fontanians and the sin of the Hydro Archon. In the Fontaine of old, the previous Hydro Archon sensed the yearning of her Oceanid familiars for life on land. The Oceanids were enamored with the beauty and romanticism of human beings, and wishing to have those experiences for themselves, expressed to the Hydro Archon. However, even though water as an element is intricately linked with the power of life, the Hydro Archon, as one of the not one to give in, she eventually found a way to create permanent humanoid bodies for her familiars by appropriating the power of this planet's primordial. She poured primordial seawater into the Oceanids' blood vessels, creating humanoid mimics. But if Fontanians were to ever come into direct contact with water from the primordial sea, the power within their bodies would escape these artificial restraints and return to the sea. Of course, the Hydro Archon never received permission from the heavenly principles to create a new human race. And thus, the Hydro Archon and all of her creations came to shoulder the original sin of appropriating the power of the primordial sea. That is the
So you...
That's way too much information for me. I think I'm just going... Wait, but if that's the truth, we can't let the Hydro Archon be sentenced to death?
This really might be too much information for your regular fun.
Alas, your hypothesis regarding the third and fourth stone slates was inaccurate. The slates' respective positions are, in fact, correct. A key point of the visual on the third slate is how all the individuals depicted in the water are they have not been dissolved, which implies that the water... The nation of Fontaine is the nation of Hydro, as well as the nation of Trials and Justice. You may also recall Navia's experience. When she fell into the sea, her consciousness was... Therefore, that the people of Fontaine shall try the Hydro Archon at the court. Yes,
I think I'm following now. So, what you're saying is, in truth, everything we've done has...
What should we do?
Huh. No matter what, the prophecy will be fulfilled.
If that's the case, does that mean the scene in the fourth slate will...
Traveler, I would like to point out another small fallacy about the fourth slate. You probably thought that the eruption of primordial seawater beneath the fortress of Meripede served... However, I believe that rather than being a sure sign, that eruption could in fact only be... As for the root cause of the catastrophe, I believe you've already encountered... This eruption was just a small warning of the things to come. We must find the root cause of the disaster.
It was both dream.
If we're talking about a true culprit, that could only be that thing inside the primordial sea.
The truth, the original sin, the
So we've met it at last. I understand very well why it has chosen to make an appearance. That whale does not belong to Tevat. It is a monster that has traversed the stars, weeping all the while. It has been greedily consuming the energy from the planet's primordial sea, using it to... And once it has finished consuming...
You said that when the Hydro Archon first created Fontanians out of Oceanids...
Precisely. That whale finds the blood of Fontanians, not... Therefore, when it left the primordial sea, it decided to make its next stop a packed opera house full of food. Food in the form of Fontaine.
We just barely managed to push it back, right? In that case...
That is correct. Indeed, it is more accurate to say that we should thank that Harbinger for From the way he looked, he must have been...
That battle maniac. We've always known that he had a special connection with that whale, but we definitely didn't expect it to help us. Anyway, now that we know that this whale is the actual cause of the disaster recorded in the prophecy, all we need to do to...
It is too late. It had already absorbed too much of the primordial sea's energy before we could notice it. At this, even if the entirety of Tevat were to be destroyed, it could still survive.
That's not... We've already done everything we can, and we even found the true culprit. We've come so far. You can't just tell...
Indeed. That's not how
I'll fight it to the end. No matter what.
So the prophecy will be fulfilled no matter what, huh?
The prophecy. Yes, what has been prophesied will be fulfilled. Just as prophecies are usually only the future as seen from the perspectives of the gods, could things be happening in hidden corners where ultimately fate shall serve as your only guide, no matter what will happen in...
What's happening with the oratories?
I believe it is preparing to carry out the death sentence.
Farina! No, I still need answers.
You...
Sorry. That shocked expression on your face.
You are not Farina.
Ah, the sweet sound of bewilderment. Marvelous. A sure sign that my attempt to deceive everyone was a resounding success.
Fusalo, why did you deceive us?
Oh, that wasn't my goal, of course. Goodness, the heavenly principles.
Deceiving the heaven...
It's all because of that pernicious prophecy. Dreadful, wasn't it? Everyone doomed to dissolve. One was not amused. In fact, one was positively bemused when that problem was thrust upon me by my dearest predecessor. That's the former Hydro Archon Egeria for the uninitiated. It hardly gets... She knew full well that the prophecy would surely come to... And as one of the seven, she also knew full well that one defies the heavenly principles at one's peril. So yes, as you have no doubt surmised, It was a rather impossible I spent a terribly long time mulling it over, alone on the ocean floor. And I had to outwit the heavenly principles. Allow the... I'm a genius, I know. I can only assume, although, looking back now, it was hardly the inheritance one dreams of. Between the task of saving the nation, the quotidian duties of... But one can only play the hand one is dealt. I did not choose this, any more than I chose to be...
So you were also once one of the Oceanids, transformed...
Yes, I was. I always dreamed of becoming human. And I still do, even now. After becoming a god, I separated my divinity from my body and spirit, leaving behind only a self that was as naive and bewildered as my past self. The me you see before you now is that divinity. And the human counterpart, she could feel joy, sorrow, and everything in between. She could be as vain. Her strengths were of a kind only a human. But in my eyes, Farina's humanity was what made her perfect. She was perfectly human and anyway, so then I cursed her. All part of the plan, of course. The plan to deceive the heavenly prince. Do you still remember the final scene of the prophecy? In order that the prophecy might appear fulfilled, I invited Farina under the curse I placed on her. So long as I, Focalor's divinity, continued to exist, she could not die. But nor was she instead, she was forced to take the stage in the opera house, to embrace the... I suppose now you probably understand why your court is called the opera...
But Farina is only human. Even though she has had a long life, her mind is no stronger than that of any other ordinary... I cannot begin to fathom what she has had to endure.
It has indeed. And although she is, in a sense, it's been and all along, she's been playing her part in the most unimaginably long, unbearably lonely.
Oh, who permitted you to come onto the stage? Now, I understand your admiration for my august self. All right. It is not my intent to reprimand you. There is no need to state your name. Just be off with you. Do not distract. Oh, do not jest. Can you not feel it? I am Focalor. The eyes of countless Fontanians are upon me. Dear audience, the performance is experiencing a technical difficulty, but worry not. The guards shall resolve it soon enough. Time for takeoff.
Shine down!
To incinerate! Go. Brace yourself.
Ha! There is no escape! Inazuma shines eternal! Action to compel.
Hey, what gives? The audience is still watching me, you know. Guards? Wait, where are the guards? Guards!
Illusion shattered. Torn to oblivion. Shine down.
Farina. Farina.
Huh? Who's that? Who's calling me? Where are you?
Be not nervous. Be not afraid. I am before you.
Wait a moment. You're mirror me? How can it...
Mirror you, huh? You know what?
Mirror me.
The prophecy. Have you heard of
What prophecy? The people will all be dissolved into the waters.
Oh.
What's going on? I can't seem to...
Yes, it will. And that is why I've come to you.
But doesn't that mean everyone will die?
Oh, don't worry. Magical meetings exist in this world precisely to give people a chance. I will tell you how to save everyone, but...
Oh, so there's still hope. As for the suffering, well, but if the prophecy will come true, I'll also die if there were scales, with all the people of Fontaine on one side.
I suppose this would also be the justice that...
Huh?
Don't worry, it's nothing. Listen well.
Play as...
That's right. You must begin a never-ending masquerade. If you can keep it up, then I shall have my way of defying this prophecy.
But how will I do this? A human assuming the role of a god without being exposed.
Don't worry. What you must do is not to turn yourself into a real god. You simply need to play the role of a god as humans. Being a human yourself, I'm sure you remember. Your true challenge will not be pursuing...
I'm still not sure I understand, but... So, how long am I going to have
to accomplish this mission? You will have to stay on the stage for many, but I promise you, all will event...
A trial, huh?
Maison Cardinalise has announced my accession, but this is my first time facing the people. What should I say to most appear like a god? Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. And I'm sure you've all heard about how I have taken on the role of Hydro. In truth, I know little about becoming a nation's new god. But as the god Focalor, the god of justice, I shall do. Once again, thank you all for coming. If you should have any I thought I might stammer, but thankfully, I was.
That's the new Hydro Archon. Is this some kind of joke by the Maison? I would have thought that a being that surpasses humanity would be a bit.
Hey, did you hear that? She even told us to send her suggestions.
Shouldn't gods be all-powerful? She's being so modest. What's the...
If you ask me, perhaps the succession didn't actually happen. She might...
Wait, what's going on? Why is everyone so... Right. Mirmi said that I just need to play... Calm down, Farina. Think. Assertive. With a strong sense of presence. Oh, now, I was wondering if some weak puppet were to one day... Well, it seems that you would all see right through them. Having passed my test, you are You may consider my previous act a door gift of sorts. I thought it was a... Now then!
Ah, so that was just a performance. How could I have forgotten that we were in...
Her personality. It's quite shocking, to be honest, but I suppose it's a better look than before.
Such a fascinating and bold deity. How wonderful! Our future may yet be bright after all.
It seems I've turned them around. Best follow this flow and restart my accession speech. My dear people, whether you acknowledge me or not, whether you trust me or nay, I say to you, keep faith in your... We have heard it said that this nation's sins can no longer be washed away. Well, I say that justice is most fragrant when it the scales of justice should not weigh heavy in the hands of its God. On one side, may law be the prayer on our lips. May judgment be our worship. Let us light the fires and drink to the future. There is no trouble in this world that justice cannot solve. Oh, so long as I, the Archon Focalor, stand within the Opera Epiclese.
Lady Farina, here are today's case reports, as well as a summary of...
Come now. Besides, none of these trials...
if I may be so impertinent...
A magnificent, dramatic, and...
That's true, I fear I lack the ability to...
No need for fright, and do not take what I said before too seriously. Go now, do your duties. The trial I await. It will...
Lady Farina, I don't know.
No need to thank me. Or rather, thank your own sense. Oh, I'm afraid. All right. Deoteria, is it?
He is doing much better now. In fact, he is far more of an ardent believer than I. He was the one who forced me to see...
Oh, good. Very good. If this should happen again in the future...
You're such a gentle and...
Lady Farina, here are the latest hydrological reports.
I see. It's as I thought then. As your god, I did already expect this, but all manner of signs indicate that the prophecy will still come to pass.
Well, as I understand it,
Really?
I'm afraid that
Oh, is that so? Well... The day is finally over. But it's good to see that everything's getting on. Maybe this is fine. I just... All right.
Lady Farina, here are the new trial reports for the latest...
There'll be no need for that.
Lady Farina,
Indeed, my dear loyal...
Lady Farina, we're detecting significant hydrological...
Understood. Keep monitoring. Keep me in... I feel utterly exhausted.
Lady Farina, it's like a dream being able to speak with you up close. I've heard that the first member of our family who was honored to receive an audience with you.
And what a fine family yours is indeed.
Are you crying?
Really now? This must be the overflow of hydro from my person. Well, can't quite help being the god who's...
No wonder. No wonder. A manifestation of...
So interminable. Hundreds of years must have... I never imagined. Have I reached my... I want to tell someone. Anyone. I've conducted so many investigations. All I can do is keep heart.
Farina, you don't have to shoulder this burden, although I don't know what you might be keeping from everyone.
Share. That's impossible. It was...
But even if your burden doesn't need to be just share it with me.
A witness. And if to that is... He's... If things don't play out as No, Farina. You shouldn't be selfish. But what if... Farina, you've worked so hard for so... Is it such an outrageous thing to do anyway? To find someone, if you let this opportunity slip through your fingers, think about it. Long and hard. No, I have nothing to say. All you need to do, dear spectator, is to witness...
Fine.
So even Farina doesn't know the truth?
Yes, it had to be done. To deceive, she did very well. If she had let her resolve fall, it seems that trusting
I believe that I understand how your deception... How would you build on this foundation to save the people?
Ah, good, good. Of course, the Iudex of Fontaine has pinpointed the crux of the... I'm sure you've long sensed that the Oratrice is...
I've always suspected that it had its own consciousness. And Lenny did mention that he heard a human... It now seems that that person was you.
And then I became one with the Oratrice, taking Fontaine's gnosis with me. Yes, it would seem so, wouldn't it? Alas, your understand... In truth, it is no enactor of justice. Oh, you have it. And to be more precise, not only will the... I mean, did you think I would be my work over these last 500 years? But really, some have already discovered that only a small fraction of the energy generated by the device was ever used to provide power to Fontaine. The vast majority had to be, accumulated.
It was all a part of your plan.
Indeed. This power, accrued over 5 centuries, could have sustained Fontainians for millennia, but only power of this magnitude could hope to destroy the Hydro Archon.
So the Oratrice's call for death was for neither Farina nor Focalor. The destruction of that divine throne.
Returning what's rightfully yours to you. In other words, this was all done to return the authority of the Hydro Archon to... Oh, what? Getting sad again, are we? The authority of the ancient dragons shall soon be yours once more.
All you've done throughout the years is...
I've never quite seen it that way, you know. Even now, I'm quite pleased at how... Hydro Dragon, don't cry. I must say, had it been within my rights, I would have loved to judge the heavenly principles themselves. Egeria stole the power of the primordial sea, and the heavenly principles stole... I, for my part, am the god of justice. Speaking of justice, I have always believed that justice lies... So, if the theft of the primordial sea's might was then... Leaving matters of procedural right and wrong aside, the descent of the Fontainians as humans, in other words, existence was Egeria's justice, and to defying the prophecy and ensuring that Fontaine's people shall... At this point, we, whether it Iudex Nervillet, the highest judge in our land...
So when I was invited to the court of Fontaine to serve as Iudex, at last... In the beginning, I was uninterested in human existence. But these 5 centuries of living alongside them have gradually... You are, things being as they are. Surely you know that I could never declare them to be guilty.
The hour of my execution is almost here. For the sinner, the curtain call has come. I know I may not sound it, but faced with death, I find myself a little afraid. Perhaps this is one thing both gods and humans have in common. Farewell, Nervillet. I hope you've enjoyed the part you played these 500 years.
Judex Nuvelet, hereby declare, people of Fontaine, your sins are forgiven.
What just happened?
Was that bright light some sort of misdirection?
But since we're all still alive and haven't been dissolved...
It's time to end this. We must...
Didn't you say just...
I have gained the strength sufficient to deal with it. Through certain means, we should seize the opportunity to pursue our quarry. Traveler, now that the oratories can no longer function, I require an executor to help me mete out justice. The root of the calamities befalling Fontaine, the beast that enacts the prophecy. Its name is the... Come with me, traveler. The... done my best to separate the power of the primordial sea from the whale. Considering the size of the beast, I cannot reach the power source. Unless